Who's ready for an alpha-gal-free sloppy joe? Stick around. Hey there, and welcome to Alpha Gal Home Cook. If you have Alpha Gal, know someone who does, or you're just looking for simple, delicious recipes that call for everyday ingredients, this is the channel for you. I'm DJ, and I was diagnosed with Alpha Gal syndrome about a year and a half ago. At that time, I had to learn to feed myself all over again to find and prepare safe foods. I know a lot of people with Alpha Gal are starting in that place, and all of us are still learning as we go. So on this channel, I will share with you Alpha Gal free recipes that you can make at home. They will be simple, they won't require exotic ingredients, and hopefully you'll love my approach. Now, let's take a quick look at the ingredients we're going to use to make the Sweet Heat Sloppy Joes today. As you can see here, there is not a long list of ingredients. I've actually separated them out so that you can see the main ingredients that you might need to purchase for the recipe and not already have in your home. So you'll see there is a pound of turkey, a can of tomato puree or paste, and buns. You'll need buns for your sandwich, and you'll need to get whichever ones are safe for you. Other than that, all of the ingredients listed here are things that you may already have in your home, and they are not ingredients that you will use up just on this one recipe. So I will also put the instructions for the recipe and all of the ingredients in the description for this video. Let's get started. All right, we're going to make ourselves some sloppy joes. The first thing we're going to do is turn on the burner to a medium-high heat. In this case, I have a gas stove, so I'm going for about a 5. We're going to put in a little bit of olive oil. Woo! Did you say that? I didn't catch it at the beginning. All right. We have our olive oil in the pan, and we are going to make some sloppy joes. So here I have a pound of ground turkey. This is 85/15. So we have a little bit of fat in that because it will add to the flavor. I have a stomper. You can buy these in, Walmart or some of the general stores, but you can use a spatula or whatever it is you normally use to crumble your meat. So I just want to get that broken up a little bit. And then I am going to add to that my diced onion. This is dried diced onion. Cooking the onion and the garlic in with the meat in the very beginning, I feel adds a really nice depth of flavor to the food. So we're going to do that. And we're going to wait just a few minutes for that stuff to get brown. And then we'll chop it and stomp it some more. And this is where I learned that I am a very noisy cook. It sounded more like I was laying down railroad tracks than I was browning turkey burger. This takes a few minutes, but only about 4 or so. It is the longest piece of the process. All right, at this point, when it's starting to get mostly brown, but not browning, I'm going to add the seasonings. So I shared a picture at the very beginning with the seasonings. There's some cayenne, a little bit of cayenne, 1/4 teaspoon. There's some smoked paprika, some cumin, some chili powder, and some salt. And I will add a sprinkling of pepper as well. Just regular black pepper. All right, and then I'm going to stomp that all in. Point, the hammering begins again. But what I'm doing is chopping the seasonings into the turkey burger and making sure that it's absorbing the flavors. Adding them at this time also allows them to flavor the sauce that we're going to put in, instead of all being absorbed by the meat. All right, we're going to let that brown for just, maybe 2 minutes. Okay, that was about 1.5 minutes, and I bumped my camera, so sorry if that's kind of in a different position there. So you can see there's not a whole lot of moisture left in there. I did stomp it a few more times
while I was waiting, but I didn't stomp it consistently throughout the entire thing. So now I'm going to add the cup of water. I'm going to add the 3 tablespoons of brown sugar. This is organic brown sugar for those of you who are not tolerant of sugars that are processed through bone char. Coincidentally, this entire concoction here for the sloppy joe filling is also gluten-free. So for those like me who love a good home-cooked comfort meal that is both delicious, alpha-gal free, and gluten-free, this one will be for you. Now, I do put this on a regular sesame seed bun for my husband. I believe I bought him sesame seed brioche buns this time around. But for me, I usually use a Udi's frozen hamburger bun, and I thaw that and I pop it in the microwave. And then I toast off the tops of both his and mine, separately of course, so as not to cross-contaminate. But that's kind of how we do it here. All right, so now I'm just going to let this simmer for a few minutes so it can thicken up, and then we should have a nice, good sloppy joe filling for our sloppy joes. And I will turn the camera back on in just a couple minutes so that you can see the finished product, and then we'll make some sandwiches. Look at that sizzling goodness. It's simmering away. Should simmer off a lot of that moisture so that we have a nice, thick sloppy joe consistency. All right, so I cooked that off for 2 minutes, and as you can see, it's gotten pretty thick in consistency. It's looking really good. I did taste it. There's a little bit of heat on the back end from the cayenne pepper, but if you like yours a little more spicy, please do that. You can also amp up the seasonings if you like, more a stronger flavor profile. But this is perfect, and I will assemble our sandwiches soon. Right, so if you hear some noise in the background, that is my air fryer. I'm also making rosemary roasted potatoes in the air fryer that are perfectly safe for me and enjoyable for my husband. We're going to plate my sloppy joe first, so we risk less potential for cross-contamination of the gluten. Sloppy joe, get a lot of that goodness on here. And then we're going to top him off. And he is nice and pretty. Now I will plate my husband's. Ignore the grease on the burner because you know that happens when you cook. So there's my husband's. He has the full gluten experience there. There's his sloppy joe filling and his finished sloppy joe.
This video was actually shot when I was just toying with finally putting something up on YouTube. And these were the sandwiches, were the outcome of that. As you can tell, probably this video has taken place over several days, but we are finally here. All right, so I think that's a wrap for today. What you won't know based on the timing in the video is that the entire cook process took about 11 and a half minutes. I did take about 5 minutes to prep ahead of time, but of course I've made this recipe in the past and it may take a few more minutes for someone who hasn't done it before. But it is a quick recipe. We're talking 20 minutes or less. And you have dinner on the table. So hopefully you'll be able to give this a try, adjust it to your taste, and enjoy. Thank you for joining.